This is the ExitUS podcast. That's spelled exit, EXIT-US. The podcast for the new American dream, moving abroad. The fact is, in these uncertain or frankly, certainly dystopian times, it has become untenable for many to think of remaining in this country we love and adore so much. As the world, or hopefully just this country, falls around us, many are looking for options to escape to higher ground, to escape fascism. But it's one thing to think you want to do so, another thing to decide you want to do so, and another thing entirely to figure out how to make this dream a reality. So, how would you navigate all of these complexities of moving abroad? How would you decide in the first place where you want to move to, what country you'd like to aspire to get to, let alone figuring out, can you do so? We like to think as Americans our passports can take us anywhere, but remember, that's as a visitor, as a tourist. If you're thinking about how to get a visa to remain as a resident or to work in a foreign country, it's a whole different matter. You become the immigrant. And let's be honest, anti-immigrant sentiment is a thing in other countries too. So how do you navigate these visa realities, whether it's Canada, countries in Europe, or elsewhere in the world? How do you think about getting permanent residency? Can you get a path to foreign citizenship? What about investment opportunities that lead to these? Or let's say you're paycheck to paycheck. How practically can you figure out financially to move abroad, let alone the issues of visas if you don't have the ability to buy a golden visa? These are all the kind of things we'll be exploring in coming episodes. And there are so many other considerations: navigating tax consequences, navigating cultural shock, settling in with a family abroad, or convincing your spouse or kids in the first place that it's something that's worth doing, or traveling and moving abroad as a single person, solo. And once you're there, how do you figure out the right mix of hanging out with other expats and really connecting with locals and making new friends in the community? How do you worry about logistical things? I mean, it's one thing to move across the city. It's a whole nother thing to move across the ocean. And just keep in mind, you don't have to navigate all this alone. This podcast will be your resource to figure all of these issues out and to get through this process together. Now, a bit about me. I have been abroad myself as an expat, living in Europe and Africa, and serving on a fellowship in Asia. And, I want to just emphasize, as much as we're all in complete despair right now, keep in mind that this is actually something that can be really exciting in one's future. Living abroad is one of the most extraordinary things that you can experience in life. It changes your perception of our fellow humans, our brothers and sisters around the world, as you really realize we have so much more in common than we have differently. And you just open yourself to so many fantastic experiences. So I really want to emphasize there's a lot to look forward to, even as you may feel overwhelmed and afraid and furious and in despair right now. Let's also make sure that we do have a realistic sense of why we need to do this. There may be a sense of doom that you feel, that like there's a lava flowing in and you really have to get to higher ground. And I think, having lived in some fascist countries where authoritarianism and dictatorships were the name of the game, it's really realistic to be afraid of the potential of what can happen when we don't have the kind of rule of law and freedoms that we all have taken for granted here in the U.S. So it frankly does make sense to be having this conversation, to be thinking about where can you move to that might be a little bit higher up on the index of countries with the best democratic freedoms. It's a smart thing to be doing. It's a lot better than having your head in the sand. So let's all together work on our own Project 2025, moving abroad, And we'll be here to guide you through all the various steps and logistical nightmares. And even, if you haven't made the decision yet, all the pros and cons of moving to various countries and moving at all versus not moving, and all the emotional and logistical impacts, that you'll be facing. So you won't be facing this alone. We'll be here with you. So hit subscribe on YouTube. Please give us a like, a thumbs up on our videos. Check out the videos we have already. And if you prefer to listen to us as an audio podcast, subscribe on your favorite platform. And also, please take a moment to visit our website, ExitUspodcast.com, and that's spelled EXITUS podcast.com. And please sign up for our mailing list. We'll be sharing tips, advice, roundups of helpful news articles, and all sorts of goodies coming into your inbox. So, in these tough times, let's hang together, help each other out, and somehow, some way, we're going to make the best path forward for all of us. Godspeed to you all.